WBNE.
Howdy, Oaks, and welcome back to Bacon and Eggs. I'm Tyler Carlin.
And I'm Ethan Edgehill.
And today is Monday.
And this is Bacon and Eggs.
So team up with your former enemy.
And destroy some shipping containers.
Because today we're bringing you...
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I'm gonna get out of bed and start my day. Cook up a breakfast of bacon and eggs. I won't check my phone till after my coffee.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 3, Power Broker, released April 2nd, 2021. That's 2 days ago as of recording. Directed by Kerry Scoglin, who's directed all of these so far. Got an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I am joined by a guest today, Rachel Bartholomew from the Perspective Z podcast, and we're getting a full-on Generation Z take on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Howdy, Rach.
Howdy.
Thanks for coming.
Well, thanks for having me.
Really appreciate you joining in at such short notice. This is very fun.
It is. I love sharing a Zoom screen with you.
Right? Isn't it the best?
It is.
So, tell me about Episode 3 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. How have you been liking the show so far? Let's start with that. Is it hitting for you? Is it not? Are you a big fan of these characters previously?
So actually, just yesterday, I was like, I think I need to watch... I think I need to get caught up on this. So I watched all 3 episodes in the past 24 hours.
Okay, yeah.
See, I like to consider myself a casual Marvel fan,
Fair.
except Spider-Man, specifically Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I know everything about all of those.
Perfect.
But like these
Nothing wrong with
these characters keep popping up in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'm like, am I supposed to know that person? Like with Zemo. I was like, I had to ask my stepdad. I was like, am I supposed to know him, or am I supposed to know he's a person and we haven't met him before? Like, am I supposed to recognize his face? Because I didn't. Most
of them know. Helmet Zemo absolutely was the entire villain of the Captain America 3 Civil War.
Listen, I have a short attention span.
No, it's all
I
good.
don't know if you've learned this about me.
You don't say.
I have ADHD, and like literally in movies, half the time I'm fidgeting with something right now. Like I am constantly fidgeting with things, and sometimes I'll get too focused on what I'm fidgeting, so I miss half of movies.
I hate that. That's the worst. I'll do that sometimes where I'll be like playing a game on my phone while I'm watching something, and then realize that I had no idea what was going on for the last 20 minutes in the movie because I'm playing some crazy game of solitaire, just like struggling real hard with this against this computer opponent, and be like, I missed the whole plot.
The scene, I'm assuming we're doing spoilers since this is an episode.
It's a completely spoiler-full review.
Okay, so like in the last 15 minutes or so when Zemo gets shot. No, not Zemo. Who gets shot? The
Power Broker.
Yeah, okay, when he gets shot, I was
the doctor whatever, the
the guy that made the serum.
Yes, Doctor something. Hang on. Dr. Nagel. There it is.
Okay.
Dr. Nagel.
When he got shot.
Yeah. Now, you're not supposed to know who he is, as far as I know.
That was another one. I was like, surely this is a new guy. But I was staring at my phone. I was putting away laundry, actually, because I was trying to multitask. And he got shot, and I out loud went, I was supposed to be paying attention there. And had to, rewind 30 seconds and figure out what happened.
Yes, absolutely.
Because the first thing I remembered hearing, because, every now and then you just kind of tune out, was, what did you just do? I don't remember who said it in the show, and I was like, dang it!
Yeah, so Zemo shoots him because they, I guess, don't need him anymore. They have all the information he's going to give. And then he created the super soldier serum, or recreated it from Isaiah's blood. Isaiah, the black super soldier who was in jail.
Well, Zemo thinks they were done with him, but apparently everyone else was not on that same page.
Well, yeah, I mean, Sam and Bucky Sam and Bucky allegedly are heroes, the good guys, on the side of the good guys. And
Which I'm questioning, quite honestly.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't really know where they stand, right? Because they don't like the government, obviously, because the government put this new Captain America in charge, and he's a
which is dumb.
Total tool.
Yeah.
But also, they're not necessarily on the side of the Flag Smashers.
No. But, I don't understand how the Flag Smashers are the bad guys, because they're just trying to help people after the blip that were, displaced because the people came.
Well, and I think that this is an important episode because they have been sort of leading you in that direction that like, hey, maybe the Flag Smashers aren't that bad, right? And maybe we could feel sympathetic for Carly. And they spend this whole episode being like, oh, Carly's like losing somebody. This is real sad. And then she blows up a building full of people.
Right.
And just kills a bunch of people. I'm like, oh, wait.
Yeah.
She's still a terrorist. Like, this is not the point they were trying to make, clearly.
I think the guy sitting next to her in the van was like, there were innocent people in there. There were still people in there. And she was like, well, none of them are innocent. Or she said something along those lines. And I was like, oh.
Right. And that's, yeah. So if I thought the show was in any way reactionary, like, that's what I would think. Is like, I guess they're just good at planning, like, what people's thoughts are going to be. And that clearly people were going to start to sympathize with this girl because she's like, you know, a fairly young person that's leading this rebel band of miscreants. And it's easy. Obviously, the government's not the good guys here, especially in the wake of the blip. So it's easy for them to be like, oh, well, this is a rebel hero we need, like Princess Leia. And then they had to be like, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see where it goes from there. And like if they try and give her a little bit of a redemption arc or if they just leave her and they continue down this path. Right. Because quite honestly, I can't tell what their mission is. Like, they're trying to help people who were displaced when the people came back from the blip, but then they're also just blowing people up.
Well, so I think that they had decided that the world was better off during the blip, right? Where, like, with half the people gone, things were sad, but also probably kind of better for those half the people, right? Like, half the people equals twice the resources, theoretically. Not always how it works, but, like... Yeah, you know, a world that was united against the blip had to be a powerful thing. And we haven't really got any, you know, outside of what we're shown in Endgame, we haven't really got any look at what life was actually like during the blip.
Right.
They haven't made any of those shows because Wanda was obviously blipped, and then we had WandaVision, Spider-Man was blipped, and we had Spider-Man Far From Home. And those are the only things that have happened post-Endgame, right? Like.
Right. Do you think they'll make that show?
I don't know. I have no idea, like, how they're going to... Because eventually they're going to have to show us that time, right? But the only heroes that were alive were the original 6.
Right.
Hawkeye and Iron Man and Captain America and Thor and... and Black Widow.
What a roll of the dice there that those 6 are the ones that stay.
Oh, yeah. Totally random half of the population, right?
Right.
Like, totally random. No way that was a plot device whatsoever. So I'm kind of having a hard time seeing where they would tell that story. You know, who they would tell that story through, because like everybody else was blipped.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that's the time period the Loki show is covering. I don't think that's the time period that the Black Widow movie is covering. Maybe in Hawkeye, maybe the Hawkeye show. I don't know when the Hawkeye show takes place.
When does that one come out?
I think that's the last one.
Okay, yeah.
This year.
I haven't heard much about that one, so I think you're right on it being later.
They were still filming like a month ago.
Yeah.
Because I kept seeing stuff on TikTok of them like actively filming the show.
So what I find interesting is like living in the time of COVID, right? None of these shows, like they had the opportunity to throw in a mask here or there and they don't. So is it just in an... Like, obviously, it's an alternate reality, but they're trying to make it seem like it's in our modern day. So are they just glossing over it? Did that happen during the blip?
Yeah, I think so. I think post-blip is something like 2025 or 26 or something like that.
So then it would have happened right as the blip happened. Oh, that would have been chaotic.
Theoretically?
That would have been awful.
I think that they're just, you know, this is an Earth where there was no COVID.
Can you imagine?
Okay, exactly. But they did. Hey, to be fair, they did have the blip. And they had absolutely no idea that those people were going to come back.
Right.
So, like, they did spend 5 years where half the population was just dead.
Yeah.
Which is, like, much worse than what COVID has done so far.
So far.
Though there wasn't really a chance for a second blip. You know, it was pretty unlikely that Thanos was going to be like,
they screwed up when they were trying to fix it.
Well, yeah, but that's not how movies work. No, but so
that'd be really funny. Just thinking about the end credits scene if they screwed up a second time.
Jesus. And it's just Hulk standing there by himself like, oh, oops.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's Hulk and Ant-Man. That's it. But yeah, so Black Widow's dead, and Iron Man's dead, and Captain America's dead, and Thor is alive, and Hulk is alive. Mm-hmm. And Hawkeye is alive. So yeah, I think that there's a strong possibility that we would see some of that time frame during the Hawkeye show, especially since he's the one that made the most like off-screen character growth during that time, because he comes back in Avengers Endgame like, you know, a ninja or whatever, like Mr. Assassin guy with the mohawk and stuff. He took on a whole different personality, so that would be very interesting. But this was honestly not something I thought they were going to tackle at all. Was like, I figured, you know, it's a superhero franchise, right? Everybody comes back and everybody's like, oh, joy, it's so awesome. Mm-hmm. And so far, a lot of the all of the properties have brought the kind of weirdness of the blip into it in a way that I didn't really expect.
Right.
Especially this show, which is like, you know, now you've got the potential that, you know, there are terrorists that liked things better the way they were.
Which I feel like you would have that. People that
definitely
liked it the way that it was.
Well, again, like it had to be kind of rad to live in a world that was all sort of united. Mm-hmm. You know, no borders or whatever. Like, and you know, it sucked for a lot of people. Obviously, things are hard when you lose your loved ones, but the fallout is definitely not what I would have expected at all, or expected Disney to be like, yeah, we're going to tackle this, and like the fact that things are harder for people of color after the blip. Right.
To be fair, I think they were harder for them before the blip too, but
well, yeah, so blippies of color are having a harder time reintegrating to society than those that are white, at least in America.
I saw a TikTok that was, it's people of color, so white people are people of no color now. And I love that. And I was like, I'm going to use that. And so they do a bunch of skits of like, oh my gosh, we just got invited to our people of no color wedding. We're so excited. We have to learn the Macarena and the YMCA dance. It's so good. If I can find it, I'll send you the link to their page.
That's so good.
It's good.
That's so good. How does Gen Z feel about the show? I know it's because it's tackling topics that none of these shows have dared to come, or none of these Disney properties have dared to come toward so far, with things like, you know, normalizing therapy and predatory bank lending.
So I haven't talked to all of the generation. Obviously, we're not all in a group chat because that'd get ridiculous.
Y'all don't just have like a big Instagram DM or wherever,
no.
Snapchat DM, wherever you teens talk.
TikTok.
We
all just
DMs?
make TikTok. Yeah, no, we make TikToks and we send them to each other. That's how we communicate.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Do you remember how we bought out all the tickets to the Trump rally?
Yeah.
We did that through TikTok.
But you're like
be a whole different app, TikTok.
You're like making TikToks and sending them to people as like a point-to-point messaging system.
I don't. I post TikToks of my dog being cute, but like people do it.
So like if I wanted to say something to you, I would open my iPhone 12 Pro Max,
and I would open my Google Pixel 2.
That's so wild to me. And I would go to the TikTok app and I would hit the plus button down here. Oh, I can't type. Okay,
that one. Yeah, there you go.
And I would be like, yo, Rachel, what's up? Thanks for hanging out on Bacon and Eggs today. This has been a blast. And then I would post it. Like I would just post it to the.
So maybe not quite as directly, but like if you want to call someone out and it kind of has a larger application, like you want to call your friend out, know other friends have this same issue. You could, or like you can make a video that's like, send this to your friend that never responds on time. And then you can send it directly to the friend you're thinking of, but then other people can also send it to their friends.
Okay. Hold on. I'm getting the hang of this real quick. I'm learning to be a teen.
Katrina and I were talking about this week on our show, but we hated TikTok when it came out. We thought TikTok was the dumbest thing, and now I'm over here.
TikTok is the best thing.
It's
what's your at?
I think it's Rach Bart. Let me check. See, I feel like I'm a bad Gen Z. Like, I don't understand the Gen Z things. Yeah, it's at Rach Bart.
Follow back. Cool. Don't be offended that I didn't already follow you. I don't ever check that, ever.
No, you're good.
Okay. Hang on. I can do this. How do I search? No. There we go.
Hey, look, Wow Now just started following me.
Hey, look at that. I sent you the TikTok. Now we have communicated. Perfect. I am a teen again. This is the most bonkers thing that I've heard since Tori Wood was like, yeah, all teens talk through Instagram DMs. We don't have each other's numbers. And I'm like, you people are
I would
insane.
say that's true. DMs of some platform or another.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone all over the place. It was WhatsApp, and then it was, X and Y, Snapchat, and Instagram. And so that's what I was wondering was the new platform if you're just talking directly in TikTok DMs. What I thought you were saying is that literally you would, like, make a TikTok and be like, yo, what's up, Rachel? You want to go to the mall today? And you would post that and hope they saw it, because that sounds like insanity to me.
That sounds like a great way to use TikTok.
I posted that to TikTok so that only my followers could see it. So if you're watching this video on YouTube or you're listening to this podcast on a podcast app, go follow me at WowNow on Twitter or on TikTok. That's W0WN0W, and comment on that video and say, hey, I can see this.
Fantastic.
So anyway, you haven't talked to the whole generation about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but like as a person who is sort of younger than me, how does this show hit?
I like it, yeah.
Okay.
I really appreciate that Marvel tackles mental health. They make sure, like even just with Thor going through his depression, Gen Z loved that. It was all over Gen Z side of social media because it's not shown. Or it wasn't shown before. And I think the blip added a chance for them to take advantage of that and really show mental health, and they did a good job of it. And I love the therapist.
Yes, she is great. I hope we get to see more of her in this season. We only have 3 more episodes left in this season, so I'm very curious as to how many things they're going to leave unraveled because they're setting up a lot of stuff. I don't know if that's going to translate into other TV shows like we did with the Mandalorian, or if it's going to translate into future seasons of this, which I'm sure it will because there's no real stakes on this show whatsoever.
You want to know a secret?
What?
I've seen 1 episode of Mandalorian.
Really?
Really?
Oh, man. I love that show. But it does a good job of like introducing side characters and then Disney being like, by the way, this side character is going to get their own show. Sup?
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't be surprised if like 2022, they were like, okay, Helmut Zemo, the show is becoming a thing where this dude is like a reformed.
And then I'd really have to learn who he is.
Or Sharon Carter, the show.
Oh my gosh. I love her.
Do we love Sharon Carter?
I do. And maybe it's just because I love the actress, but...
Yeah, she's great.
But yeah, it's a special...
God.
It's kind of like how I love Tom Holland so much as Spider-Man.
Okay.
Like, I spend more watching Spider-Man mainly because of the casting.
Fair. Okay.
Like, Iron Man is great and all. Cap is great. But Spidey Boy...
She's so boiled down in the original Steve story for me that I just cannot separate it into this thing that I actually like. I have a hard time giving Bucky Barnes the time of day because I've hated him in every single thing he's been in.
Same.
Until this point. And Sam's sort of just been there. And I still think that like Anthony Mackie sort of forgets how to act every other scene. Where like there's some pretty wildly poor delivery here. And I get that he's acting with Sebastian Stan and Daniel Bruhl, who I believe are both like either Oscar winners or like Oscar nominees. For like big roles. And he's Anthony Mackie from, the sidekick in the Captain America movies. But he definitely is just kind of like, wow, that's a line.
So I have a question for you. And this is show related, shockingly.
Go for it.
I can't remember if it's up 2 or 3. Because again, 24-hour period.
I could probably tell you.
When they're in the bar and he gets his regular drink... And they like cut up the snake and they put it in. Do you know what I'm talking about?
That's this episode.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, do you think the bartender, knew that it wasn't whoever he was pretending to be?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
I thought it was going to break bad way before then.
Me too, because I was like, or I thought he grabbed like the poison sac from the snake or like the venom sack. And he was trying, like, initially that's what I thought he was doing. He was just trying to poison him because the real guy would have known.
Yeah, because Anthony Mackie's like, wow, this is a good snake. And I get that that's him supposed to be bad at acting that part because he's not that part. But yeah, he's very much like, wow, this is some great snake juice. I love it when I drink this snake. Yummy. I fully expected the bartender just to be like, okay, panic button.
Or just pull out a gun with the way it was going.
Bar full of criminals in this knockoff Singapore. Can you come kill this guy? Thank you.
Right. I think that was kind of their clue. Or like their first clue. Also, whenever they say random things, like random phrases, I'm pretty sure those are supposed to be code words that like the actual guy would know. So I can't remember what she said, but I think she said like when they were back with, what's her face? I'm terrible with names, but the woman that they were talking to, that she was like, Sam, put it on speaker, but it wasn't, she didn't say Sam.
Oh, she's whatever. I think she's the power broker or whatever.
But when she said something like tiger's blood or something and no one reacted,
Smiling tiger.
Smiling tiger. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a code that
so that's
he was supposed to be reacting. Oh,
that's the character who he's playing. That's his name, is Smiling Tiger.
That makes more sense. Because that's such a random thing to just say.
Yeah, no, that's the character he's playing, is Smiling Tiger, this African warlord. But yeah, I definitely thought she was gonna get clued in earlier, and maybe she did know, maybe she totally knew, and that's why when the phone rings, she's like, put it on speaker.
I kind of think she did know. Because
that was definitely, I didn't think about it until just now, because I was literally thinking earlier, like, she has to know, like, she's been informed that this is not Smiling Tiger, right? Like, this is...
Also, his disguise was terrible. At least put on some sunglasses, buddy.
Yeah, really. That dude clearly wears sunglasses indoors. Like,
and if you go to this place
he's an African warlord.
Enough,
that's the one thing I know is that they wear sunglasses and drive Toyota pickup trucks. Like,
but like you would think if Smiling Tiger went to this bar enough that they know his order, they would recognize his face.
Yeah.
Sunglasses. That's all I'm asking for.
I know that this is not a real, Madripoor is not a real place, the city they go to, and it's just supposed to be like, it's supposed to exist alongside of real places, like everything in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like Sokovia and Wakanda. But all of these places are like aggressively stereotyped, and I really thought they would be getting out of that by now.
Yeah.
Like, because I get it, like Singapore is the place by, you know, where they're like, we're originally pirates, and it's like a terrifying place where there are still pirates and everything, but it's like you don't really have to make it out so like the place that's supposed to be Singapore is this whole entire city full of like war criminals basically hiding out,
right?
And there's no safe place.
Because when I think of Singapore just now, not even in the MCU, I think of like the pictures I see that it kind of looks like Tokyo at night when it's all lit up.
Yeah,
I don't immediately think of pirates.
No, I don't either. And I get that it's situated, it's a trading port, right? It's situated on the Strait of Malacca, which is a thing that everybody learned about last week or 2 weeks ago. Whenever the boat thing happened, everybody was like, oh, so there's 2 more of these places that we could break, theoretically. Excellent.
My favorite thing was, I don't know who did it more, Gen Z or Millennial, but everyone was like, put the boat back. That was my dopamine. Put the boat back.
I mean, for real, like the world had never been united against anything like that. Like,
it was the best thing.
And people are like, those sailors are in such danger. They're hurt. And all of the people under 40 or under 35 were just like, don't care. Boat funny. Thank you.
Yeah.
The problem is it got unstuck with so little gravitas, right? Like they just eventually, the digger, the one backhoe was like, yeah, I got it. Sure. And they just drove it out. Right. And they didn't have to blow it up on pay-per-view. Like,
who wrote the script for that one?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Cop out on the boat thing. Because like Sokovia is just like, oh, well, this is Eastern Bloc place affected by Cold War. We are all miserable in Sokovia. It has weird shamanistic traditions.
In America. That's not a defining trait.
And then Wakanda is like, we knew 4 things about Africa and we used all of them in one go. And then, yeah, for Madripoor, they're just like, okay, boy, you know, let's just go with Mos Eisley on this one. Like, a hive of vile scum and villainy. Which they already is how they portrayed Seoul in Black Panther as well. Seoul, South Korea.
Yep.
So there's some weird, Southeast Asian xenophobia going on from the brass at Marvel with this whole thing of like all of these cities suck. And like they just don't. Like Singapore's a beautiful and vibrant place. I do think if you're caught doing drugs, you get killed by the government. Like it's an immediate.
Oh, in real Singapore?
In real Singapore, yeah. I think if you do drugs in real Singapore, then they just like kill you on sight.
How do they feel about snake shots?
I don't know. I have no idea. But that whole thing just made me feel, it's not as bad as High School Musical 2, but it did make me feel a little icky.
Yeah, that was a weird set of scenes.
Yeah, we're not here to talk about that. That already happened. I think, how far ahead are we on Bacon and Eggs? We've released that episode. Okay.
Yes.
We have released that episode.
I meant the bar scene was a weird set of scenes, but I mean High School Musical 2 as well.
Yeah. And then they go to Sharon's apartment and she's just like having a rager.
Mm-hmm. With all this stolen artwork.
Like, yeah, she's cool. Like, I get it. And Sam doesn't understand stolen artwork. And he's all like, oh, look, everybody's so world weary. And there's Sam. I don't know. I don't like the way this show's making me like Bucky Barnes. I'm uncomfortable with it. I was not prepared for it.
That's fair. I don't know. They're definitely trying to flip the lens on so many characters right now that I don't know how I feel about any of them.
That's fair. That's what season 2 of The Mandalorian did a lot too. I know you haven't watched it, but like it's very similar writing and storytelling. I'm just talking about it from a sort of a broad perspective.
Right.
Where like they did a lot of gentle retcons to established characters, right? They did a little bit of like, we're going to kind of back in some stuff, but not be like, oh, wow, Anakin Skywalker's still alive, actually. You know, they're just like, okay, this person, we're going to say a thing, right? And WandaVision was the same way, and this has been the same way, where they're just like trying to line things up a little bit better, correct some mistakes maybe were made along the way, give it a little bit more cohesion.
See,
but they are bringing life to these characters.
They are. But the Marvel movies are like Midwest potholes, right? They go away and winter comes and they all come back. So they have to go fix them every single year. So they're going to continue to release shows like this to fix the winter potholes.
That's not incorrect. Although I do think that they've got it kind of handled with the shows they've got. Like I think they figured it out at this point. And the MCU has been a little bit more airtight to begin with, just because it has sort of had one creative team the whole time, and there's been different writers and directors, obviously, and definitely things that don't make 100% sense for character development. But I was really stoked to see Helmut Zemo back. I know you didn't remember who he was, but that was a big one for me. I did love that guy in Civil War.
It's not that I didn't remember who he was. I remembered he was a character I was supposed to remember. Right,
fair. Well, and he got about as much development in this episode as he did in that whole movie, which is cool. Like you're seeing a different side of this dude, who also it's one of those things where they have like the same mutual end, right? Like neither team wants there to be more super soldiers, but he's a villain and they're not.
Right.
So it's gonna get complicated if they keep being a team together.
I feel like the only reason they don't want the super soldiers is because they don't have the control that they did with Cap. It's like there may not be something inherently wrong with having more super soldiers. It's like nuclear weapons. No one wants the other guy to have them. Right.
Well, and at this point, like at that point, they didn't want Cap to have them, right? Like that's the whole plot of Civil War, is that he didn't want to sign the Sokovia Accords because he felt like, superheroes were fine, and Cap definitely wanted to be the only super soldier. And I don't think it is entirely like nuclear weapons, where like I get what you're saying, but like also it's sort of a different thing, because like I get not wanting to create any more of the super soldiers. Like let's at least deal with the ones we have and not just let this
see how this pans out.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I wouldn't say they have control over Bucky Barnes or whether they had control over Cap or not, but at least they
had more influence on him.
Sure, but also they weren't making more of them, Like we had these two, and one was good and sort of a problem, and one was bad and sort of a problem, and now we have
and the third that we didn't know about,
right? Who was probably not a problem, but was black, so we got locked in jail.
Yeah, which is
a whole different kind of problem
in and of itself.
Yeah, as a systemic endemic problem that's completely separate from the Captain America thing. But now we have theoretically 20 of them, assuming that all of them survive the treatment, the change, and that. So I think that was definitely a big thing because they made a big point of having Nagel be like, I made 20 of these. And I was like, oh, but we only know about 6 or 7 or something like that.
Right.
We've got 14 more.
Which, do you think in the boxes, they're transporting these boxes, do you think it's actually vaccines? Because they're labeled as vaccines in medical supply.
I think that's just such an easy, like, I don't know if it is or not, honestly. But, like, the places always need vaccines. I know we're thinking about it more because of COVID right now, but like other countries are always in need of vaccine shipments, especially in those sorts of parts of the world.
Yeah, I just feel like that would be such an easy way to hide things.
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence by any means. But honestly, I have no idea where this is going at all. Because again, there are only 3 more episodes. Like, how much can you really accomplish of all the things you started in 3 more episodes? Like, we're obviously not going to have a satisfying resolution to Sharon Carter, or whatever her name is. We're obviously not going to have a satisfying resolution to, I don't know. I think you could either pick the John Walker thing or the Carly Morgenthau thing for the rest of the season. Like,
I want to see where she goes.
Yeah, I think that's the plot that they're doing, and so far this has like been the thing that sold me the least. Honestly, I'm more bought in on the side plots than I am on the actual like plot, especially after this episode where they kind of existed wholly separate from each other.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you could just hear Sky barking, but there is a squirrel in the backyard that we've named Charlie.
Oh goodness!
And she likes to torture Charlie, so I'm sorry if that pops up.
No, it's fine.
She's they like to play together.
Fair.
But Charlie doesn't know they're playing.
Fair. Okay. No, so I have found myself deeply invested in, like, the John Walker thing, in the other Captain America thing.
I honestly haven't, because when they showed him, I was like, nope, done, stupid. Get rid of him.
I'll tell you what, that dude is perfectly normal looking when you take the helmet off of him, but nobody has ever looked more weird in that helmet.
Oh, I agree. His
face is just so much like, jaw, like
mine. Like
he looks so weird. Like, I thought he was gonna look way different, and then he took the helmet off. And I'm like, okay, this is just a normal, like, kind of buff looking dude. But then he puts the helmet on, and like, dude, you look like such a dork. Like, yeah,
he looks like someone that was hired for a kid's birthday party as Captain America.
Exactly. And he's just
like
not
Youth Pastor Ryan on TikTok.
Oh God, Jesus. That guy being Captain America, yeah. No, I'm fully bought in on that.
Spider-Man.
That would be wild. That'd be wild.
Yeah.
I wonder how kids feel about Captain America, about the new Captain America.
That's what I was thinking, because it's like this whole country kind of had to mourn the loss of their, not figurehead, he's not the queen, but, like this big guy that represented them. And then the government's just like, ooh, part 2. It's like when a university has a bulldog mascot, like a live mascot, and then they have to replace it. And it's like, because I know Drake in Des Moines just had to do this with Griff, so now they have Griff too. And it's like, but that's not Griff. That's not Griff.
No, you just keep naming the dog the same thing, though, because that's the mascot's name, right? And it's like, how many Yale Bulldogs have there been?
Right.
Since Yale was created.
Growly at Virginia Tech. Their military dog.
Oh, well, he's not a mascot.
No, but there have been like 3.
Have there?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't keep up with the core.
It pops on my feed.
Fair. What's been your favorite part of this whole series so far? What's really drawn you toward the Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
The whole thing. Getting to find my memory gaps in past Marvel movies. I would probably say, I don't know, up until this episode, it was the Carly story where, like, you didn't know why we didn't like her so much. But now, I'm just drawn in to see where it goes with that.
That's so wild. Yeah, that's definitely the part that has sold me the least. Like, I am much more interested in Sam's fishing boat. I am much more interested in Bucky's.
Oh, I don't care about his stupid boat.
Oh, I do. I think it's so interesting to like give these people real lives. Like, because that's something we never saw in the movies.
See, I watch Marvel movies to escape real life. So
I mean, fair. That's valid.
Well, and I'm in the process of apartment hunting right now. So like thinking about things like that, I'm like,
Yeah. No, I get that. But also you had like, 24 movies like that. I think it's and that's what a lot of people are saying is like, oh, well, these shows are so gatekeepy because like you have to watch all this stuff to understand them and watch the show. And I'm like, yeah, there's been 24 movies, my dude. Like, what did you expect? They were just going to be like, oh, this is all brand new stuff. You don't have to have a single piece of knowledge.
I mean, you can walk into it. Katrina watched Endgame with no other Marvel movie under her belt. Like, you can do it.
Why would you do that?
She still hasn't seen any others.
Not even Infinity War?
I think she's seen those two, actually.
God, why would you do that?
I don't know.
Understand. No low
like,
entiendo.
You definitely can go in with no knowledge. It's just going to be a lot more stressful of a movie for you.
I mean, sure, yeah, but like, God, I feel like Infinity War doesn't even like get you started, right? It's in. It starts and you're in. That's it.
Yep.
God, that's a lot.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Are the two.
You could definitely watch this show without knowing anything. You could probably watch WandaVision without knowing anything.
I would agree with WandaVision for sure, because I never really followed Wanda or Vision. Like,
yeah, no. Later on, you sort of need to know the plot of, like, especially Age of Ultron, the movie where she was introduced, the movie where Vision was introduced.
Mm-hmm. I've seen them all. It's just how many times I've rewatched them.
I did them all for the show, but that was a long time ago. So there are definitely times where, like, especially with this stuff, the movies I didn't particularly like that much, like Captain America: The Winter Soldier, I'm kind of like, oh boy.
As long as there aren't callbacks to Incredible Hulk,
no,
I should be fine.
When there was funny things, like in this episode where they get in the car to drive away, and Sam's like, "You're not going to move your seat up at all," and Bucky's like, "Nope." And that's like a callback to one of those movies, and it's funny, and like, they're doing well with that. But there are things that are like, I know this is a reference, but I don't remember what it's referencing. Like, so my reference alarm went off, but I don't know what it was.
Right, I'm talking to this guy friend right now, and he said he's actually waiting to watch WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier because he's watching through all the Marvel movies right now. And I was like, see, I don't have the commitment for that, because I'll get halfway through and then be like, screw it, and not watch anything else. And I want to watch the new content.
What's that like?
Wanting to watch new content?
If I watch Iron Man right now, like, I can't watch Iron Man at any point, right? Iron Man 2008, the first one. Because that's a week of my life gone.
Right.
Because then I have 23 movies to watch. Right, I have to finish.
But I keep getting to one of the Avengers ones. It's a different one every time, but like one of the Avengers movies, and then I'm like, okay, I've spent enough time on this. I need to step away for a bit.
Well, it's like Becca. You know Becca from Sincerely Us, the host of a podcast on this network. She'll like pick up a random Harry Potter book out of order
and finish it in 3 hours.
It's not even that. Well, yeah, it's not even that. But she'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna read The Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah, I can't. I would have to start from the beginning.
You have to start with book 1, chapter 1, The Boy Who Lived. Like, Mr. and Mrs. Vernon Dursley, number 4 Privet Drive, were perfectly normal. We're proud to say they were perfectly normal. Thank you very much, or whatever it is.
I know it ends with "thank you very much."
Yeah, like that's how it starts, right? And then you got to get through all of it. And by the time it's a week later, and you've read 7 books, and you're like, oh god, I can't deal with the 19 years later right now. I just have to do something else.
See, I get to the point where I read all of them, and I'm like, what was I looking for? Why did I want to like? There was something that sparked that I wanted to pay attention to.
I had a point. Exactly. It's the same as like, I cannot watch Iron Man right now, because if I watch Iron Man, it'll be the only thing I do for 2 weeks, and then I will lose the book challenge because of it.
I lost the book challenge in the first month. I started my calculus class, and I was like, I can't read anymore.
I'm 3 back. I'm 54 and a half in right now. Becca's at 57. I don't know how far into the 58 she is. She'll probably hit me with a 58 check mark any minute, and I'll be 4 down. But, like, I'm dragging her back inch by inch. I swear to God.
I dropped my calculus class, so maybe I'll make myself a solid 5th place contender.
Do it. Although I don't think you will, because I don't think I'm in 5th place or 3rd place. I think there are people in the Discord that have passed me.
And just
close to it. Yeah. Like,
I think you're right.
So I think you're probably putting yourself in contention for like 20th, depending on how far behind you are.
Oh, I've read like 3 books.
Okay. Yeah. So
like
I think
way back there.
And that was why we didn't make this a whole Discord thing. I mean, obviously people would join in, but it's why we just kept it between the 4 of us for the most part, is because like I cannot keep up with what everybody else is at. I have a hard time being like, I think Becca's at 57. And then I have to go through the text message and be like, oh, that was the last one she said. Okay, yeah, we're good. We're good. I know where she's at.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So what are you looking forward to with the rest of what are your predictions? Give me some hot theory.
Oh, predictions. I think Carly is going to become more of a terrorist. Like they're just going to keep going with that.
Yeah.
I think the boat, Falcon's going to save it. He's going to save the
shrimp boat?
The shrimp boat. I think it's going to be saved.
I think that'll be like the last thing that happens this season is he'll come up with some money somewhere and then fly in and be like, hey, this is, $100,000 in blood diamond money. What's up?
Yeah. He could sell some.
I've been in Africa for 2 weeks. I stole some blood diamonds.
He could do that. Or, anything else. There's nothing else in Wakanda that he could sell. No vibranium.
He couldn't just walk in there and be like, hi, I know I haven't been here maybe ever. I can't remember. But I am black. Can I have some vibranium?
I wonder how that one will go over. Let's see, the boat. I think that I don't know how I'm going to feel about Bucky at the end. That's one I'm still like, I don't know where he's going to go.
I think he's going to have to develop into this White Wolf character at some point that was promised in whichever, I guess it was Black Panther that he was in. So
speaking of Black Panther, we haven't touched on the ending of the episode.
Yeah, that's where I was bringing it to.
So I was like, that's kind of a big thing. I don't know how much more we'll see of the Wakandans. Wakandans?
I think it's they'll be there the next episode. I'm guessing. I think they're gonna walk in their next episode.
I was gonna ask if you think T'Challa's be there, but obviously not.
No, I don't think T'Challa will be there. Yeah, I don't know if they'll meet up with some Wakandans somewhere else, but or what. But like that was how it worked with the last episode.
Bring
with episode
me
2 we'll see. That's the theory right now, is that Shuri's going to be in the series at some point. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, at the end of the episode 2, they were like, "Oh, we got to go find Helmut Zemo," and then that was the whole 3rd episode. So theoretically, that would be the next logical step, is for them to spend the next episode with the Wakandans, which would be cool. Which would be cool.
It would be very cool, but I want to see the storyboard. Like, I want to see all the little arrows that are pointing around. Like, I want to see it drawn out on big whiteboard.
Well, I don't think they let you into the whiteboard room at the MCU.
I don't think they would, but I want to see it.
Back when we were doing the movies, we postulated about the guy that, the timeline guy that is like the keeper of the MCU timeline, who has to sit there every time they make a new movie with the whiteboard and the string and be like, okay, they said 8 years later. What the hell do we do with that?
It's the meme of the guy with the red tape. Is that Parks and Rec that it's from?
Oh my God, you're so young. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay, there we go. It's that meme. Never seen it.
Carol! Yeah. That's the show for people that were my age.
At least.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was probably prime It's Always Sunny age when that first show first came out. So like it definitely hit people my age pretty hard.
Like my age and Shrek and the Bee Movie.
Right. Things that came out before you were born.
Yeah, but they were... My Gen Z is in love with them.
Yeah. Yeah, Gen Z definitely brought the Bee Movie back in a way that I'm not comfortable with. I
was reading a BuzzFeed list, and it was like, these movies you watched as a child are way overhyped, or were way overhyped then, are weird now. And the B movie was on it, and all the comments were Gen Z just furious.
By all principles of aviation, there's no reason the bumblebee should be able to fly. Its wings
I used to have a sticker that says, "You like jazz."
You like jazz? Its wings are too small to get their fat little bodies off the ground.
I love it so much. So we had a homeroom that was like 13 minutes long. And so for 3 months we played, I don't know how long it actually was, but we played 13 minutes of the B movie.
That would get you a couple weeks, I would imagine. Yeah. 13 minutes is a long time.
Well, I think we only had it every other week or something. I don't know. Our schedule was weird. But yeah, we watched the B movie in 13-minute increments.
Fair. I forgot that school's different from how it was when I went to school. Where we had 8 classes a day, and we had the same 8 classes every day all year.
Yeah, no. That was not my schedule at all.
Yeah, no. That pretty much, like, died 2 years after I was born. Or not born, after I was, like, going through it.
Right.
Like, I live in Virginia, and people that were a year above me had to take keyboarding. And people that a year above or below me had to take personal finance. And I didn't have to do either.
I didn't have to take personal finance in Iowa.
Everybody in the class below me had to take personal finance, and I imagine they have probably changed that at some point, but it was for like at least the next 10 years. I had to take personal finance.
Did you graduate 10 years before me?
I don't know. This is just in Virginia. I have no idea how it is elsewhere. Maybe not 10 years, but like, say I was in middle school.
I graduated in 2020.
Right. Yeah, it was like one of these things where you had to take it in like 7th grade, and it's been a long time since I was in 7th grade. But I took keyboarding instead, even though I didn't have to, because I figured they were going to reintroduce the rule, but I didn't have to do that. I had to learn to type, and then
I had to use Type to Learn 3 in grades 3 through 5. It's the only typing I ever had to take.
No, we were not expected to know how to type really at all in elementary school.
Oh, we had to have keyboard covers so we could not see our letters, so that we can I'm really good at typing without looking at it.
I mean, same, now. Yeah. I had to do that was on keyboarding. We took a whole class. It was a semester long in 7th grade or 8th grade. But also, I was still where they were like, oh, you have to learn cursive. In high school and college, everything you're going to have to be turned into cursive.
Same.
I got to high school and they were like, here's a laptop. This is your school-issued laptop. You do all your work on it. Thank you.
So I want to say they stopped teaching cursive like 5 years ago or so. Yeah. So I learned it all through elementary school, all through middle school. But did you know they don't teach them how to read analog clocks now?
That's insane. Mm-hmm. That's so wild.
Our school-agers at daycare don't know how to read our giant analog clock.
And they don't have chalkboards or anything.
Nope.
I remember when they started redoing all the chalkboards in the school with whiteboards. And then I remember when they gave every room in the school a smartboard.
I remember when my mom got a smartboard and then she wrote on it with dry erase marker.
Nice.
Because my mom's a teacher, so she had one in her room.
Did you ever have to deal with overhead projectors?
Yeah, I did in early elementary.
Okay. Yeah, I had them all the way through high school. That some teachers would use the overhead projector.
See, it's weird because I'm the youngest child of 2 millennial siblings.
Yeah.
So a lot of the toys that people are like, Gen Z, you wouldn't get it. I'm like, that's all I played with. We were poor. Like, I had the hand-me-downs. Right.
Well, I was talking to a college freshman about this recently, and she was like, yeah, my first cell phone was an iPhone. And I was like, I had 7 cell phones, or 8 cell phones, before the iPhone even came to Verizon.
My first phone was a flip phone. It was a track phone, and I had to pay for my own minutes. And I got it in 5th grade because I started to go to football games by myself.
Yeah, she was like, I got my iPhone in 4th grade. And I was like, I was in 4th grade. When I was in 4th grade, cell phones, they didn't have LCD screens on them yet. I still had a Nokia clicky brick phone.
Yeah, I had the 9 keyboard. That was my first phone.
Yeah. Oh, I had the keyboard on the Nokia didn't even have T9 word on it. You just had to type.
Like, oh, wow.
Click, 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 click.
Yikes.
Like the second phone was the first one that had the T9 typing thing on it, which I could do, probably still to this day could do that in my pocket and make coherent words for sure. Oh my gosh.
I could never.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
My first
that was
iPhone,
it for years. I didn't have an iPhone until my first smartphone I got in 2013. So I was a sophomore in college.
So I got mine like 2 years after you did.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was like 7th grade. I got the iPhone 5C and it was lime green.
Nice. Okay,
Yeah.
I remember when the 5C came out. So my first iPhone was the 5S. This was the first one I had. This is the first one that came with Siri. I think. Because they had the 5 and they replaced the 5 with the S and the C, and that was the first time they did the two thing where they had a cheap one and an expensive one. That was my first iPhone, was the 5S. Before that, I had a couple different Androids, and my freshman year of college, so I guess it was 2012 when I got this, actually, I had a BlackBerry.
Ooh, Blackberries are nice.
Yeah, which was still so like, yeah, when Tori Wood was like, oh, my first phone was an iPhone. I was like, you child.
Yeah, no, we lived in rural Missouri. My mom was a teacher and a single mom. So, like, I did not get the experience a lot of Gen Z had. Right. And that's why I say I'm a bad Gen Z. Because
you had a much more millennial experience.
I had a much more millennial experience. And even just, like, the way I talk, like, I don't know if... Well, you've had this conversation with Katrina where she adds the, like, slash whatever to the end to show...
Yeah, I think you're all crazy for that. I think you're all crazy for that.
I don't get it.
I get that it works, but, like... I don't know.
Yeah, she's way more Gen Z than me in every single way.
But it's like, and this is the thing about millennials, is why we're so weird about nostalgia and everything, especially compared to basically every other group of people, is like, they change the rules on us basically every 6 months for our entire lives. Like, I remember getting my first CD player, and then my first portable CD player. And before that, I had to listen to music either on the radio or from cassette tapes. And if I wanted to make a cassette tape for my Walkman, I would have to like record songs off the radio onto a cassette tape and make a mixtape. And I had to wait for those songs to come on the radio to make that mixtape. Or play them in my dual cassette deck if I had them.
I never had that, but we had CD players, and then we got the iPod Nano, I think was the little clippy one.
Yeah.
Before that, I actually had an knockoff iPod Nano. It was pink. And then my sister got the iPod, and she downloaded a movie to it, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And then I saved up all my money and bought an iPod Touch, and I had that for like 3 years, and then I got my 5C.
My iPod Touch was my 5th iPod. So like I lived through the whole thing. They changed the rules every 6 months. I remember Blu-ray being invented. I remember the war with Blu-ray and HD DVD. And
we wouldn't buy a Blu-ray player or the other one because my mom was like, I'm not wasting money on one if we don't know which one's going to stick around.
Right. I had an HD DVD player that attached externally to my Xbox 360.
I currently have an Xbox 360, but it's newer.
Yeah, so they've been changing the rules every 6 months, and so like I still remember having to wind a freaking cassette tape back with my pencil.
See, and I had toys versions of cassette tapes, but I didn't ever have like the real, except when I was at my grandma's house. But
no, and I loved getting the Nickelodeon VCR or VHS tapes because they were orange instead of black,
bright orange.
Yeah.
The VeggieTale ones were green.
I never did VeggieTales.
My family was obsessed with VeggieTales.
Yeah, no, my parents just let me watch stuff.
Yeah,
I definitely knew people that were VeggieTales kids. I was not.
I was a VeggieTales kid.
Yeah.
I can, sometimes I'll just get VeggieTales songs stuck in my head still. And I'm almost 19 now.
I remember going to a workshop in church when I was a kid where they told me I wasn't allowed to read Harry Potter because it was witchcraft. It's been a wild ride, man. And then, 12 years ago they invented the iPhone and everything stopped. And technology's mostly been the same.
But she's freaking out about furious at Charlie.
Fair.
It's also possible that there's a dog walking by because we live right next to a walking path.
All right. Well, it's wrap time here on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier Marvel Monday episode of Bacon and Eggs. Any final thoughts, Rach? About the TV show, about life, about anything?
Other than I need to go catch that squirrel.
Fair.
Or just bring a bird catcher or a squirrel feeder out of the yard. I don't know. I'm excited to see where it goes. I am excited to see where the Gen Z millennial war goes because it's the stupidest thing on the planet.
Team side part.
Have you on to Perspective Z to talk
Team
about
side
that.
part. Team side part.
Do you see my hair right now?
Team skinny jeans.
Do you see the side part?
Yeah.
I told you I'm a bad millennial or a bad Gen Z.
Yeah, I can't. Some of the things you people get into, I can't deal with the middle parts. I can't deal with the baggy jeans. I can't deal with AJR. Like, I'm not here for it.
Yeah, no, I side part skinny jeans. I listen to predominantly country music, honestly, so I don't get into much of the pop culture debate or the pop music debate because all the radio stations now are all TikTok music all the time.
Yeah. A Driver's License is a fine song. It's okay. It didn't deserve what it got.
I still haven't listened to it all the way through.
I mean, it's all right. It's just a pop song. It's not better than anything Drake's ever done, but whatever. Anyway, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me at I don't know what my Instagram is. Hold up. Okay, let's look up my Instagram handle. You can find me Rachel_Bartholomew on Instagram, and that's BARTHOLOMEW. My Twitter is at rbartholomew094. Or you could find Perspective Z wherever you get your podcasts, now at WBNE Podcast, or on Twitter at Perspective_Z_. Just 2 underscores, so yeah.
What's coming up on your show that we should know about? Anything fun, anything exciting?
We don't really have anything huge coming up other than we're talking to a potential guest, so stay tuned for that.
Neat.
Maybe you can come on and talk about side parts and skinny jeans.
I would love to come on and talk about side parts and skinny jeans.
Yeah,
I'll see if I can come up with some avail for that.
All right, let me know.
That'd be funsies.
You know where to reach me.
I do. Call me, beat me if you want to reach me. Anyway, this has been another episode of Bacon and Eggs. Our graphics are by Vaishon Brandon, Graphite WMB on Instagram. Our music is by Sam Jones at the Sam C. Jones on Instagram. And on behalf of Tyler Carlin, I've been Ethan Edgehill. She's been Rachel Bartholomew. Bye.
Bye.
Deuces.